The spaceship Essence of Prudence moved slowly through the dark space toward the third planet from the yellow star. Inside the ship, Chief Science Officer Kethler looked at his computer screen with growing worry. The numbers he saw made no sense. "Commander Veltash," he called out in his clicking voice, "you need to see this data about the target planet." Commander Veltash walked over on his 6 thin legs. His purple shell gleamed under the ship's lights. Like all Zephyrians, he was tall and thin, with big eyes that could see many colors. His people came from a safe world with clean air and steady temperatures. "What is the problem, Kethler?" the commander asked. Kethler pointed at his screen with one of his 4 arms. "The atmosphere of this planet is poisoned, sir. It has 21% oxygen. That much oxygen will burn anything it touches. The rest is mostly nitrogen, which will kill us in minutes." "How hot is the surface?" Veltash asked. "The temperatures change all the time, sir. In some places, it gets as hot as 15 degrees. In other places, it goes even higher. Some areas reach 30 or even 40 degrees. Veltash made a worried sound. On his home planet, 10 degrees was considered dangerously hot. Anything above 15 degrees required emergency cooling systems. "What about radiation from the star?" he asked. "That is the worst part, sir," Kethler said. "The planet has almost no protection from the star's radiation. The harmful rays go straight down to the surface. Any living thing there would be cooked by the star's light." Dr. Zixona joined them at the computer. She was the ship's medical officer, an expert on alien life forms. Her green shell was marked with the symbols of her medical training. "I have been studying the surface scans," she said. "The entire planet is covered with a dangerous chemical. The inhabitants call it water. This substance will dissolve our shells in just a few minutes. It is everywhere on the surface." Veltash looked at the data again. Everything about this planet screamed danger. The air would poison them. The temperature would cook them. The radiation would kill them. The water would dissolve them. How can anything live on such a world? He wondered aloud. "That is what makes this so strange, sir," Kethler said. "Our sensors show that life not only exists on this planet, but it covers the entire surface. There are millions of different species. And our long-range scans suggest that one species has become very advanced. Advanced enough to build technology?" Veltash asked. "Yes, sir. They have cities, flying machines, and they send radio signals into space. They call themselves humans." Veltash found this hard to believe. No intelligent species could develop on such a deadly world. Perhaps these humans live deep underground, hiding from their planet's dangerous surface. Maybe they only came outside wearing heavy protection suits. "Sir," said Communications Officer Rendak from across the room, "I am receiving a transmission from the planet's surface." "Put it on the main screen," Veltash ordered. The image that appeared made the whole crew stop and stare. A being stood in the open air with no protection at all. It had smooth skin instead of a proper shell. It had only 2 arms and 2 legs. Most shocking of all, it was smiling. "Hello there," the being said in a friendly voice. "This is Ambassador Sarah Chun from Earth. We have been watching your ship approach. Welcome to our world." What a beautiful day for first contact. The crew looked at each other in confusion. Beautiful day? The temperature outside was nearly 20 degrees. The oxygen levels would kill them instantly. Deadly radiation poured down from the star above. "Respond to them," Veltash told Rendak. "Tell them we are honored to meet them, but we need time to prepare for safe contact." Rendak sent the message. The human's response came back quickly. "Of course. Take all the time you need. We understand that space travel can be tiring. The weather is perfect today, so whenever you're ready to come down, it will be wonderful." "Perfect weather?" Valtash looked at his instruments again. The surface temperature was now 22 degrees. A light wind was blowing the poisonous oxygen around. Dangerous radiation continued to fall from the star. "Prepare the emergency landing pod," he ordered. "Full environmental protection for the entire landing team. Triple-layer hazmat suits for everyone. Emergency medical team on standby. If anyone's suit gets damaged, we evacuate immediately." "Sir," Dr. Zixona said, "perhaps we should ask the humans to come to our ship instead. It would be much safer." "Good idea," Valtash agreed. "Send a message asking if they can meet us on our ship where we can control the environment." The humans' response came back quickly. "Oh, thank you for the offer, but our shuttle isn't quite ready for spaceflight yet. Don't worry though. The surface conditions are perfectly safe. Actually, it's quite pleasant today. The temperature is nice and warm. There's a gentle breeze, and the sun is shining. Perfect spring weather." Spring weather. Valtash looked at the temperature reading again. 22 degrees of deadly heat. Poison air moving in the wind. Radiation falling from above. And this human called it pleasant. "Sir," Kefler said quietly, "I think these humans might be different from any species we have met before." "Different how?" Valtash asked. "I think they actually live in these conditions. Not just survive, sir. I think they like it." Valtash stared at the screen. The human was still standing there in the open air, wearing only thin clothing. No environmental suit. No breathing equipment. No radiation shielding. And she was smiling. "Prepare the landing team," he said finally. "Full protection for everyone. We are about to meet the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Beings who live on a world that would kill us in minutes, and they call it beautiful weather." The crew began preparing for what would become the most famous first contact in galactic history. None of them knew that this was just an ordinary Tuesday afternoon for the humans below. The landing pod dropped through Earth's atmosphere like a metal egg falling from the sky. Inside, 5 Zephyrian crew members sat in their emergency seats, each wearing 3 layers of protective suits. Their breathing systems hummed loudly as they filtered out the dangerous gases outside. "Commander," Valtash checked his suit's readings for the 10th time. Temperature outside, 23 degrees and rising. Oxygen levels, deadly. Radiation, dangerous. Water vapor in the air, enough to dissolve his shell in minutes. "Landing in 30 seconds, announced Pilot Kekstar through his helmet radio. "Emergency medical team is ready. Decontamination chamber is prepared. Remember," Valtash told his crew, "do not touch anything outside your suits. Do not remove your helmets for any reason. If your suit is damaged, return to the pod immediately." The pod touched down with a soft bump. Through the thick windows, they could see green plants growing everywhere in the poisonous air. The plants seemed healthy and strong, which made no sense at all. "Sir," said Dr. Zixona, checking her medical scanner, "I am detecting a life form approaching the pod. Just one individual. Is it wearing any kind of protection?" Valtash asked. "No, sir. No environmental suit. No breathing equipment. No radiation shielding. The being appears to be naked." "Naked?" Valtash could not believe what he was hearing. "Well, sir, it is wearing some kind of thin covering, but nothing that would protect against this environment. The covering is so thin I can see the being's skin through it." The pod's door opened with a hiss of escaping safe air. Immediately, alarms started beeping in all their suits. Danger warnings flashed on their helmet displays. The outside air tried to rush into their protective gear. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood 20 meters away, waiting politely. She wore a light blue dress that moved gently in the breeze. Her arms and legs were completely exposed to the deadly atmosphere. Her feet touched the ground through thin sandals. Most amazing of all, She looked comfortable and happy. "Welcome to Earth," she called out with a big smile. "I hope your trip was pleasant. What a gorgeous day to meet new friends." Commander Veltash stepped out of the pod carefully. His heavy boots sank slightly into the soft ground, which was covered with the dangerous water substance the humans called mud. His triple-layer suit made him move slowly and stiffly. "Greetings," he said through his suit's speaker system. "I am Commander Veltash of the Galactic survey ship Essence of Prudence. We are honored to meet your species. The pleasure is ours," Sarah said. "I'm Ambassador Sarah-chan. On behalf of all humans, welcome to our planet. I brought some refreshments for after your meeting." She pointed to a small table nearby. On it sat a glass pitcher filled with clear liquid and several glasses. Steam rose from the pitcher in the warm air. Dr. Zixona's medical scanner went crazy. "Sir," she said in alarm, "that liquid is pure universal solvent." She brought acid as a drink. Sarah noticed their concern. "Oh, that's just lemonade. It's perfect for a day like this. Nice and cold to help you stay cool." "Stay cool?" Veltash looked at his temperature readings. The air around them was nearly 24 degrees now. His suit's cooling system was working at full power just to keep him alive. "Yes, it's getting quite warm today," Sarah said, fanning herself with her hand. "Must be at least 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 24 Celsius. Perfect weather for being outside. Perfect weather." Veltash felt sweat running down inside his suit. His people would need emergency medical care if exposed to such heat. This human was calling it perfect. "Ambassador Chun," he said carefully, "are you not concerned about the environmental conditions? The atmosphere here is quite challenging." Sarah looked around at the blue sky, green trees, and bright sunshine. A gentle wind moved through her hair. Somewhere nearby, a bird was singing. "Challenging?" she asked, sounding confused. "Oh, you mean because it's a bit warm? Don't worry, there's a nice breeze. And look at this beautiful sunshine. Perfect spring weather. Much better than last week when it was raining." Dr. Zixona made a choking sound inside her helmet. "Sir, she says this is better than when water was falling from the sky. You have experienced precipitation?" Veltash asked Sarah. "Of course," Sarah laughed. "It rained 3 days ago. I got caught in it while jogging and got completely soaked. It was wonderful. Nothing like a good spring rain to make everything fresh and clean." The Zephyrians looked at each other in shock. This being had been directly exposed to falling universal solvent and called it wonderful. "Ambassador Chun," Veltash said slowly, "you were outside during precipitation with no protection." "Well, I had my running clothes on," Sarah said. "But yes, I was outside. I love running in the rain. It feels so refreshing." Refreshing. Being dissolved by universal solvent was refreshing to this species. Sarah looked at their heavy suits with curiosity. "Those look quite warm for a day like this. Are you feeling all right? You're not overheating, are you?" "We are managing," Veltash said. Inside his suit, the temperature was rising despite his cooling system working at maximum. "Would you like to sit in the shade?" Sarah offered, pointing to a large tree. "It's much cooler under there. Only about 70 degrees. Only about 70 degrees. That was still more than 21 degrees Celsius. Still hot enough to kill his entire crew." Dr. Zixona was studying her scanner readings. "Sir," she whispered on a private channel, "this being's body temperature is actually higher than the air temperature around us. She is generating heat internally and somehow not dying from it." "That is impossible," Veltash replied. "Sir, I am also detecting that her body is 70% water. She's mostly made of universal solvent." Veltash stared at the human ambassador. She was a walking bag of acid, standing in poisonous air. under deadly radiation in killing heat, and she was worried that they might be too warm. Perhaps, Sarah said kindly, you would be more comfortable inside? I know some species prefer controlled environments. We have a nice air-conditioned building nearby. We keep it quite cool inside, only about 68 degrees. Only 68 degrees. Still hot enough to kill them all. Thank you for your consideration, Veltash managed to say. We will remain in our protective equipment for now. Of course, Sarah said. Safety first. Though I have to say, you're missing out on this beautiful weather. Days like this make me so happy to be alive. As she spoke, she breathed in the poisonous air deeply and smiled at the deadly radiation falling from the star above. To her, this world of poison, acid, radiation, and killing heat was paradise. Veltash realized they were not just meeting a new species. They were meeting beings who had evolved in hell and learned to call it home. 3 days after first contact, the Zephyrians had moved their meetings to orbit around Earth. Their ship stayed safely in space while they talked to the humans through video calls. Even watching Earth from space made Commander Veltash nervous. Ambassador Sarah Chun appeared on the main screen, sitting in what she called her office. Behind her, a large window showed the deadly blue sky and green plants outside. Bright radiation from the star poured directly through the thin glass. I hope you're settling in well up there, Sarah said with her usual smile. How are you finding the view of our planet? It is educational, Veltash replied carefully. He did not want to say that Earth looked like the most dangerous place in the galaxy. We've prepared some cultural exchange materials to help you understand our world better, Sarah continued. Would you like to see how humans spend their free time? Dr. Zixona leaned forward in her chair. Since the landing, she had become fascinated by human biology. Yes, please. We are very curious about human recreational activities. Sarah's smile grew bigger. Wonderful. Let me show you some footage from last weekend. The screen changed to show humans doing various activities. Veltash and his crew watched in growing horror. The first scene showed humans jumping into a large body of water. They went completely under the universal solvent, then came up laughing and splashing each other. This is called swimming, Sarah explained. It's one of our most popular summer activities. The water was perfect that day, about 78 degrees. Dr. Zixona made a strangled sound. They are voluntarily submerging themselves in universal solvent, and they enjoy it, Communications Officer Rendak added, watching the humans splash happily in the deadly liquid. The next scene showed humans lying on sand near the water, doing nothing but exposing their skin directly to the star's radiation. This is sunbathing, Sarah said. People love to relax in the sunshine. It was a perfect beach day. Sunny skies, light breeze, about 85 degrees. They are deliberately exposing themselves to radiation, Veltash said slowly. For pleasure, Sarah confirmed. Though we do use sunscreen to prevent burning if we stay out too long. The footage continued. Humans were shown running long distances in the heat, climbing tall mountains where the air was even thinner, and playing games outside in the bright sunshine. This next part shows our winter sports, Sarah said cheerfully. The scene changed to white landscapes. Humans were sliding down hills on thin boards, moving fast through air so cold that water had turned solid. The temperature that day was about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, Sarah explained. That's -9 Celsius. Perfect skiing weather. Keffler checked his notes. -9 degrees? That is colder than our emergency freezing systems. And they call it perfect, Dr. Zixona added weakly. The footage showed humans throwing frozen water at each other and building figures out of it. Children rolled around in the solid water, wearing only thin coverings. This is called playing in the snow, Sarah said. Kids love snow days when school is canceled. They can play outside all day. All day, Veltash repeated. In temperatures that would freeze our blood solid. Oh yes, Sarah said. Though we do bundle up when it gets really cold. Last winter we had a cold snap where temperatures dropped to -20 Fahrenheit. That's about -29 Celsius. Even then, people were outside ice fishing and having winter festivals. The crew looked at each other in stunned silence. These humans actually went outside in temperatures cold enough to instantly freeze any Zephyrian solid. Let me show you something really exciting, Sarah continued. This is from our extreme sports category. The new footage showed humans throwing themselves out of flying machines with only thin fabric to slow their fall. Others were shown jumping off high platforms attached to elastic ropes. Some humans were surfing on waves of universal solvent that were taller than buildings. These activities look very dangerous, Veltash managed to say. Oh, they can be, Sarah agreed cheerfully. But that's part of the fun. The adrenaline rush is amazing. I went bungee jumping last month for my birthday. What a thrill. Dr. Zixona was frantically taking notes. Ambassador Chun, do humans actively seek out dangerous situations? Well, not dangerous exactly, Sarah said. We call them challenging or exciting. Life would be pretty boring if everything was completely safe, don't you think? No, Veltash thought. Life would be much better if everything was completely safe. That was the point of safety. Here's one of my favorites, Sarah said. The screen showed humans in a large room filled with very hot air. They sat on wooden benches, sweating heavily, looking relaxed and happy. This is a sauna, Sarah explained. The temperature in there is about 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 80 Celsius. It's incredibly relaxing. 80 degrees Celsius. That was hot enough to cook Zephyrian flesh in seconds. People pay money to sit in these conditions? Kefler asked. Oh yes, Sarah said. Saunas are very popular. After you get nice and hot, you jump into cold water or roll in snow. It's wonderfully refreshing. They go from cooking temperatures to freezing temperatures, Dr. Zixona said faintly. For fun. Exactly, Sarah said, pleased that they understood. The contrast feels amazing. Veltash was beginning to understand something important about humans. They did not just survive their dangerous world. They had turned survival into entertainment. Ambassador Chun, he said, do humans have any activities that you consider genuinely dangerous? Sarah thought for a moment. Wow, we do have some extreme activities that require special training and safety equipment. Mountain climbing in severe weather, deep ocean exploration, volcano research, things like that. Volcano research. These beings studied active sources of molten rock as a career choice. But even those aren't really dangerous if you're properly prepared, Sarah continued. The real key is knowing your limits and respecting the environment. Respecting the environment that was constantly trying to kill everything that lived on it. I think I'm beginning to understand your species, Veltash said slowly. Wonderful, Sarah said. Would you like to visit Earth in person now? I promise we'll find some nice mild weather for you. Maybe a gentle spring day with temperatures in the comfortable 70s. The comfortable 70s, what humans call comfortable, would kill his entire crew in minutes. Perhaps we should start with more video exchanges, Veltash suggested. Of course, Sarah said kindly. Take all the time you need. When you're ready, Earth will be here waiting. And who knows? Maybe you'll visit during one of our really beautiful days when it hits 80 degrees and the sun is shining bright. After the call ended, the crew sat in silence for several minutes. Sir, Dr. Zixona said finally, I think we need to change our classification of this planet. What do you suggest? Veltash asked. I suggest we classify it as the most dangerous inhabited world in the galaxy. And the humans is the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. Valtash nodded slowly. Any species that could turn a death world into a playground was not to be underestimated. Dr. Zixona had not slept for 3 days. Her laboratory on the ship was covered with data screens, medical reports, and biological analysis charts. She had been studying every piece of information about humans that Earth scientists had shared with them. Commander, Valtash found her there at what humans called 3 Earth time, hunched over her computer with her 4 arms typing rapidly. Doctor, you need rest, he told her. You have been working without stopping. Sir, I think I have figured out why humans are the way they are, she said without looking up. And it is much worse than we thought. Worse how? Valtash asked, settling into a chair beside her. Humans are not just surviving on a dangerous world, sir. They evolved on a world that has been trying to kill everything on it for billions of years. Earth is what the military calls a Class 12 death world. She brought up a timeline on her main screen. Look at this planet's history. Every few million years, something terrible happens. Massive volcanic eruptions that poison the air. Ice ages that freeze most of the planet. Asteroid impacts that block out the sun. The planet's climate changes constantly. Valtash studied the data. Earth's history looked like a catalog of disasters. How did anything survive these events? He asked. Most things did not, Dr. Zixona replied. Earth has had 5 major extinction events. Each time, most life forms died. But some survived. And those survivors became stronger. She pulled up another screen showing human anatomy. Look at their biology, sir. Humans are persistence hunters from Africa. They evolved to run long distances in extreme heat while chasing prey. Their bodies can regulate temperature across a range of 40 degrees Celsius. 40 degrees? Valtash could barely believe it. Most species could only handle temperature changes of 5 degrees. Their cardiovascular system can adjust to different atmospheric pressures. They can function from sea level to altitudes that would kill us. Their skin can handle direct solar radiation that would burn most species. They can survive without food for weeks, without water for days. Dr. Zixona pulled up more data. But this is the truly frightening part, sir. Humans are not done evolving. They are still getting stronger. She showed him medical data about human athletes. These humans can run for hours without stopping. They can hold their breath underwater longer than many aquatic species. Some can function in temperatures that should kill them. How is this possible? Valtash asked. Because Earth never stops testing them, Dr. Zixona explained. Every season brings new challenges. Summer heat that would kill us. Winter cold that would freeze us solid. Storms with winds strong enough to destroy buildings. And humans live through all of it. She brought up footage of humans in various environments. Look at this, sir. Humans live everywhere on their planet. In deserts where water is rare and temperatures reach 50 degrees Celsius. In polar regions where the ground is frozen solid all year. On high mountains where the air is too thin to breathe. In tropical areas where the humidity would drown our lungs. Valtash watched humans going about their daily lives in conditions that would require emergency evacuation. Procedures for any galactic species. They do not just adapt to these conditions, Dr. Zixona continued. They master them. They build cities in places that should be uninhabitable. They travel between different climate zones like it is nothing. She pulled up data about human space exploration. And now they want to leave their death world and explore space. They are planning to visit planets that we consider dangerous, even with full environmental protection. What kind of planets? Valtash asked, though he was afraid of the answer. Mars, sir. A frozen desert with no atmosphere and deadly radiation. Venus, where the surface temperature is hot enough to melt metal. Europa, a moon covered in acid ice. They call these places challenging and exciting. Veltash felt a chill run through his shell. Humans were looking at other death worlds and seeing them as vacation destinations. "There's more, sir," Dr. Zixona said. "I studied their history and culture. Humans do not just survive disasters, they learn from them. Every time something terrible happens, they develop new technology, new strategies, new ways to be stronger." She showed him images of human cities. They have survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, droughts, plagues, and wars. Each time, they rebuild bigger and better than before. "What do their own scientists say about this?" Veltash asked. "They call it human resilience," Dr. Zixona replied. "To them, it is normal. They do not realize how extraordinary they are, because everyone on their planet is like this." She brought up a recording of an interview with a human scientist. "Listen to this, sir." The human scientist was talking about Earth's future. "Climate change is a serious challenge," the human said, "but humans are very adaptable. We've survived much worse in the past. We'll figure out solutions and keep moving forward." "Keep moving forward," Dr. Zixona repeated. "Sir, they see a global climate crisis as just another problem to solve." Veltash was quiet for a long moment, processing all this information. Finally, he spoke. "Doctor, what is your professional opinion about humanity?" "Sir, humans are the apex predator of a death world that has been testing them for millions of years. They are the ultimate survivors. They turn disasters into opportunities and challenges into games." She paused, then continued. "Sir, I believe humans are the most dangerous species we will ever encounter. Not because they are aggressive, but because they are unstoppable. Should we be afraid of them?" Veltash asked. Dr. Zixona considered this carefully. "No, sir. From what I have seen, humans are generally peaceful and friendly. But we should respect them. They come from a world that would kill us in minutes, and they call it home. They survived the impossible and made it look easy." "What should we tell the Galactic Council?" Veltash asked. "The truth, sir. We have made contact with a species from a Class 1-2 death world. They have mastered their environment so completely that they use it for recreation. They are planning to spread to other worlds that we consider uninhabitable." She brought up an image of Earth, looking peaceful and blue from space. "Sir, what looks like a beautiful garden world from up here is actually the most dangerous planet we have ever encountered. And the humans who live there are proof that life will find a way to survive anything." Veltash looked at the image of Earth spinning slowly in space. Somewhere down there, humans were sleeping peacefully in conditions that would kill him in moments. Tomorrow, they would wake up and call it another beautiful day. "Doctor," he said finally, "I think we need to rewrite our first contact protocols." "Yes, sir." "And sir, I recommend we never, ever ask humans what they consider truly dangerous conditions." Veltash shuddered, imagining what could possibly frighten a species that used death worlds as playgrounds. He decided he did not want to know. 6 months after first contact with Earth, the Galactic Council meeting hall was busier than it had ever been. Representatives from dozens of species had come to hear Commander Veltash present his report about the humans. The hall was kept at a comfortable 8 degrees Celsius, with perfectly filtered air and soft lighting. Every species present felt safe and comfortable in their controlled environment. Veltash stood at the speaking platform, his purple shell gleaming under the gentle lights. Behind him, a large screen showed the image that had shocked the galaxy. A human child playing outside in shorts and a t-shirt while temperatures reached 20 degrees Celsius. "Honored representatives," Veltash began, "what you see on this screen is not a recording of emergency survival training. This is what humans call a normal Tuesday afternoon. Murmurs rippled through the assembled aliens. The crystalline delegates from Epsilon Prime made their species equivalent of gasps, high-pitched ringing sounds. The gas-based nebulans shifted nervously in their containment suits. The beings of Earth, Veltash continued, have achieved something we previously thought impossible. They have not just survived on a Class 12 death world. They have made it their paradise. He clicked to the next slide, showing humans engaging in various activities. Swimming in universal solvent, climbing mountains in thin air, lying in direct stellar radiation. These are not military training exercises, he explained. These are recreational activities. Humans do these things for fun. Council leader Mordith, an ancient being whose species had evolved in the safety of underground caves, spoke in his whispering voice. Commander Veltash, are you telling us that these humans voluntarily expose themselves to lethal conditions? Yes, honored leader. And they complain when conditions are too safe. Veltash showed footage of humans talking about cabin fever and needing fresh air. They have something they call vacation destinations. He continued, these are places they go to relax. We have analyzed several of these locations. Each one would require our highest level of environmental protection. The screen showed images of tropical beaches where humans lay exposed to radiation and heat. Mountain ski resorts where they played in frozen universal solvent. And desert camping areas where they slept outdoors in extreme temperatures. Vacation destinations, repeated Representative Klixner of the Void Swimmers. Her species lived in the cold darkness between stars. They seek out more dangerous conditions for relaxation. Precisely, Veltash confirmed. We have established a permanent research station in Earth orbit. From there, we have observed human behavior for 6 months. Our findings have changed everything we thought we knew about habitability. He brought up a new chart showing revised planetary classifications. We have had to create a new category, human habitable. This includes worlds previously classified as uninhabitable death worlds. The chart showed dozens of planets that had been marked as too dangerous for any life. Now they were marked as potential human colonies. The humans have requested permission to establish colonies on 17 worlds that we use for military survival training, Veltash continued. They described these worlds as having interesting weather. Dr. Zixona joined him at the platform. Her medical research had become famous throughout the galaxy. Honored representatives, she said. Human biology is unlike anything we have encountered. They can adapt to environmental changes that would kill most of us instantly. Their immune systems can handle toxins that we consider lethal poisons. She showed medical scans of human anatomy. A human can lose 40% of their blood and still function. They can survive with only one of several vital organs. Their bones can heal from breaks that would be permanent injuries for most species. Most remarkably, she continued, they actually become stronger when exposed to controlled stress. They exercise by deliberately damaging their muscles, then allow them to heal stronger than before. They damage themselves on purpose? Asked Representative Volinix of the Crystal Singers. Daily, Dr. Zixona confirmed. They call it working out. The more they stress their bodies, the stronger they become. It is the opposite of how every other species functions. Veltash returned to center stage. But perhaps most important is the human attitude toward their environment. They do not see their world as hostile. They see it as home. He played a recording of Ambassador Sarah Chun from their most recent conversation. Oh, you should visit in summer. Sarah's voice filled the chamber. The weather is gorgeous then. Sometimes it gets up to 85 or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 32 Celsius, and the humidity makes everything feel so alive and fresh. The temperature she described as gorgeous would cook most species in the council chamber. Humans do not conquer their environment, Veltash explained. They embrace it. They love their world's variety and challenges. They describe their deadliest weather patterns as refreshing and invigorating. Council Leader Mordith raised a thin arm. Commander, what are the implications for galactic relations? Valtash had been preparing for this question. Honored Leader, humans are already preparing for space exploration. They see the galaxy the same way they see their planet, as an exciting place full of interesting challenges. They want to explore the galaxy? Representative Klixner sounded worried. They are eager to do so, Valtash confirmed. They have shown particular interest in worlds we consider extremely dangerous. They describe these places as perfect for adventure. What do they want from us? Asked the crystalline delegate. Friendship, Valtash said simply. They want to meet new species, share cultures, and explore together. They have offered to help us access planets we consider too dangerous to visit. Help us access death worlds? The Nebulan representative's gas swirled nervously in his containment suit. To them, these are not death worlds, Dr. Zixona explained. These are just places. Humans do not understand why we find their planet dangerous, because they do not find anything dangerous about it. Valtash brought up the final slide, a picture of children playing in a schoolyard on Earth. The temperature that day had been 25 degrees Celsius with high humidity conditions. That would require emergency medical intervention for most galactic species. Honored representatives, he said, we have a choice. We can fear humans because they come from a world that terrifies us. Or we can learn from them. They have achieved something remarkable. They have turned survival into an art form. What do you recommend? Council Leader Mordith asked. I recommend we accept them as equals in the galactic community, Valtash said. But I also recommend we update all our safety protocols. What humans consider mild weather is our definition of emergency conditions. We should also, Dr. Zixona added, never ask them what they consider genuinely dangerous conditions. I do not think we want to know the answer. The Council voted unanimously to welcome humanity into the galactic community. They also voted to establish new safety classifications and to upgrade their environmental protection standards. As the meeting ended, representatives hurried back to their ships to report the news to their home worlds. The galaxy had just become a much more interesting and challenging place on Earth. Ambassador Sarah Chun received news of the Council's decision while sitting in her garden, enjoying what she called perfect spring weather, 24 degrees Celsius with a gentle breeze and bright sunshine. That's wonderful news, she told her alien friends over the video call. We can't wait to visit all your worlds. I bet you have some amazing weather patterns we've never experienced before. In space, the alien representative shuddered, imagining humans describing their homeworld's most dangerous storms as amazing weather. The age of galactic exploration was about to begin, and humans were going to love every dangerous moment of it. 3 months later, the first human tourism brochure was distributed throughout the galaxy. It advertised exciting vacation adventures to thrilling death worlds. Experience the galaxy's most challenging environments. Bookings filled up within a week. The universe would never be the same.